The NFL season is a 16-game exam in which you're graded every week. How you start is important, but as the Miami Dolphins have learned, it's not as critical as how you finish. 16 games to test a team's skill. 16 games to test its will. 16 games to come together, or 16 games to come apart. Tonight is the Dolphins' 15th test with a subject they've not been able to master. But this week's grade is heavily weighted. A passing mark by Miami extends the semester. Miami needs a win tonight to clinch a playoff spot and to keep their division title hopes alive. Buffalo's big win over New Orleans today keeps them in first, but they'll probably still have to beat Houston next week to win the division. Good evening, everybody. I'm Mike Patrick. In the first 2 years under Bruce Coslet, the Jets showed great improvement. This was to be the year they took the next step up the ladder of success. But the season has been a disaster. A string of injuries cost them 10 starters and ended the careers of Dennis Byrd and Al Toon. And Joe Theismann, one of the few bright spots all year, was the first time they met Miami and beat the Dolphins for the third straight time.
And the reason is very simple, Mike. The Jets have controlled the line of scrimmage. Offensively, they've rushed for 200 yards in those 3 games, keeping Marino and company off the field. Defensively, they've allowed the Dolphins only 58 yards rushing. It's a formula that worked for them the first 3 times. Look for them to do it again tonight.
Miami has missed the playoffs 5 of the last 6 years simply because they didn't have a defensive complement to Dan Marino. This year, with better athletes on defense, that unit hasn't been a problem at all. Lo and behold, it's been the offense.
Let me just throw some numbers at you. Offensively, the Dolphins have scored 3 touchdowns in 18 quarters. You'd expect a whole lot more from an offense that boasts 7 Pro Bowl players. Matter of fact, when you look at the complement of weapons on offense, you have to figure they can match up against anybody in the AFC. Big problems, you say? No, not at all. Just a lot of little problems. Missed tackles, missed passes, sacks, missed blocks. All those little things have haunted this offense. The fact is, with the AFC as wide open as it is, the Dolphins, if they can cure the little problems, could win the AFC.
Don Shula is in his 30th year as an NFL head coach, 23rd in Miami. Next year, he should pass George Halas as the winningest coach in pro football history. And Bruce Coslet took the Jets to the playoffs in only his 2nd year. They finished number 2 in the AFC East last season, and they did it with a dramatic win over Miami in Game 16. Last meeting in the series came in Week 9. The Jets with the upset, 26-14, and they have won the last 3 games in this very tightly contested series. An excellent rivalry between these ball clubs. Browning Nagel, the quarterback, the man who was essentially given the job at the beginning of the season over veteran Kenny O'Brien. And O'Brien on injured reserve with a hand injury for the rest of the season. He is the guy who over the years has given the Dolphins more problems than anybody, and I'm sure Miami happy to see him in street clothes.
He'd love to pass that advice on to Browning Nagel. When you talk to defensive players of the Dolphins, they figure that with O'Brien in there, he has great control of the game. He'll nickel and dime you. They really look for Nagel to put it up a little bit deeper a few more times through the course of the game.
Of course, the idea this year was to surround Browning Nagel with good players so he didn't have all the pressure on him, but with the injuries, it hasn't worked out that way. The Dolphins have won the toss and will receive the opening kickoff. Bernie Parmalee and Mike Williams are deep to receive, and the Jets have done a great job on kick coverage, 3rd in the NFL on kickoffs, and they have done a great job also on punt coverage, Joe.
Al Roberts, their special teams coach, has really made that unit viable when it comes to making plays. And that's a big thing. You got to have instinctive athletes who want to play, and he's taken them and pointed them in the right direction.
Aguiar to kick off. Less than 20% of his kicks have been touchbacks. And there's Parmalee 30 and Williams 87, waiting at the 1-yard line. Aguiar, the former World League kicker, also this club's punter. Parmalee at the goal line. Had a seam up the middle, but McMillan got a piece of him as he crossed the 20-yard line. The Dolphin offense, Dan Marino closing in on yet another record, his 5th 4,000-yard season, rated 2nd among quarterbacks in the AFC, number 5 in the NFL. The Dolphins need the running game to take the pressure off Marino. Mark Higgs with a chance to be their first 1,000-yard rusher since 1978. The line much better with Jeff Ulenake back off the injured list. He is a plus in both pass protection and the offensive line call. Spot the ball just across the 20. Page and Higgs will be the running backs, and now the officials will come to both benches and discuss something with the head coaches.
I used to hate that as a quarterback. The kickoff starts, you get out on the field, you get into the huddle, then you start talking to the players, say, okay, ready, break, you go to the line of scrimmage, you go, oh, no.
It looks like a problem with the headsets. And if one team loses the headsets, they take it away from both so that there's not an advantage.
And it can work both ways. For example, if the offensive headsets of the Dolphins go down, they'll just take away the offensive headsets of the Jets. They won't take away both of them. As long as one side's working, they let both of them go.
And John Sandusky takes the headsets off, puts them around his neck, and now they'll have to do everything from the sideline. Marino to throw on first down. Plenty of time to Page out of the backfield, out to the 27-yard line. He's been an excellent target all year long. For the Jets defense, Marvin Washington, the sack leader up front. He leads the team with 7.5 sacks. That's a career high for the 4-year veteran. Mo Lewis leads the team in tackles, an all-rookie selection a year ago. He's made the transition from left to right outside linebacker. And Brian Washington has elevated his game this year. He's tied for 4th in the NFL with 6 interceptions. A good secondary for the Jets. Second and 2, and Higgs following Page, and he goes down at the line of scrimmage for no gain. If Dan Marino has racked up some incredible numbers in his career, but if he could just play against the Jets, he would have owned every record there was by his 5th season.
And you know, those 17 games really make up a season. And in a season against the Jets, you see 58 completions, over 5,000 yards throwing, 45 touchdowns. He goes to bed at night praying to play the Jets.
3rd and 2. He gets his Christmas wish early tonight. Jets show blitz, don't come with it. Jackson, the tight end, will make the catch across the 30 to the 31-yard line. That'll be a first down. Kyle Clifton, the middle linebacker, and Houston, the left outside linebacker, on the coverage.
Keith Jackson has become the go-to guy for Dan Marino. In the tight end position, they back off the block. He knows exactly the distance he has to go to get the first down. Goes 3 yards, hooks up, makes the play. And Marino's staying with them all the way.
Mark Higgs is the single setback on 1st and 10. Marino dodges out of the sack, and then he will go down at the 27-yard line. That is the 27th sack. That matches Marino's career high.
It's an interesting philosophy. There's Pete Carroll, the defensive coordinator of the Jets. He wants to let Dan Marino know early that they're going to come after him. Marvin Washington, number 97, comes outside against Richmond Webb and really takes the inside. Webb doing everything he can. Realizes Marino is not a threat to spin out and make plays. And it's got to hurt you if you're the offensive line coach, as well as the guy connected upstairs, to not be able to see and communicate what's going on the field.
Bobby Humphrey, number 44, checks in with 4 wide receivers on 2nd and long. Marino guns it over the middle, incomplete, and R.J. Coors was there with Clayton. Hit him just as the ball got there, maybe a heartbeat earlier, but nice defense.
What's going to happen is Brian Washington is just going to tip this ball before it gets there. Mark Clayton sort of feels like he's been a forgotten man. There comes the throw. That ball was tipped just before it got to him, and you might say that, yeah, Coors, watch this, right part of your screen. See the tip? Right there, Kyle Clifton just got a fingernail on it.
And that means there can't be any interference. Now 3rd and 14 for the Dolphins, struggling offense. Marino throws low, intended for Duper. Brim was right there, and the Dolphins will have to punt it away.
When you get yourself in 3rd down and 13s, the percentage of completing them is not very good. And I don't care whether you're Dan Marino, Joe Montana, Jim Kelly. Doesn't matter how good you are at the quarterback position, percentages are not in your favor.
There's Terrence Mathis, who is awaiting the punt. Roby averaging 44 yards a kick. If he had enough attempts, that would be 4th in the AFC, but his net is awful. Flag is down, and whistle sound. They'll blow this play dead.
Interesting decision by Al Roberts. It's 4th down and 14. Unless it's roughing the passer, it's going to be a penalty.
Before the ball is snapped, the wideout is in motion. That's a false start, simulating the start of the play. 5 yards. Still 4th down.
That'll back him up, but your point is well taken.
What happens is, unless you really rough the punter, then if you just run into it, it's a 5-yard penalty. It is not an automatic 1st down. That was a rule change. And Al Roberts figures, why not? I wouldn't be surprised if they go at him again. He fell. You can see him go, ooh, we had a shot at it.
They don't come this time. And Roby sails it out of there from Mathis. Tried to cut it outside, got it out to the 48-yard line. Excellent field position. A 14-yard return after a punt of 42. We'll be right back. The AFC. And one of the few healthy running backs they have. Nagel falls down and throws it away. Baxter has it at the 41.
That falls under the category of no-no. You don't do that. You don't try and make something that's bad worse, and that's exactly what he tried to do. The offensive lineman steps on his foot. That's all this is. You'll see his foot gets stepped on right there. He gets tangled up, and instead of just trying to make a handoff, he just throws it. And Baxter isn't really ready for a pitch. He's ready for a handoff. Look, see Jim Sweeney step back on his foot. Just go down with it.
3rd and 16. Nagel unloads short to Freeman McNeil. He gets back into Miami territory at the 48, but well shy of a 1st down. Stephen Bragg's the first man to hit it.
That's the right play to make. Don't force the ball into the coverage. You know it's going to be back deep. Let your defense go out and make a play for you. Now is a game of field position. That's the way you want to play it.
Aguiar comes on to punt. And Jarvis Williams, 26. Scott Miller, 82. An unusual punt return formation with 2 deep. Beautiful, high but short. Fair catch called for and made at the 16-yard line. So both teams have had the football once. Dan Marino will have his second chance when we come back. There's a flag down on the play. R.J. Coors made the tackle.
Well, Mike, the offensive line of the Miami Dolphins really has come under quite a bit of fire, and they realize it.
Tripping, number 96 of the defense. 10 yards, 1st down.
That's Mark Gunn, the left defensive end.
So what they did as a team is they started to get together and look at film together. This is the first week they really haven't been in pads, so they feel like they're healthy, but they really try and work out their own problems within that unit. That unit becomes like a little family. They want to work out the problem.
Spot the ball at the 31st and 10. Higgs again. Gaping hole up the middle. Got away from Hasty into Jets territory. R.J. Coors had to make the tackle after a gain of 23.
Richmond Webb, highly touted, takes Marvin Washington out to the left. Mark Higgs right up in the middle. You see this one? This is straight line. Nice job by Tony Page. They create the big hole, and Higgs picks up 10 on his own.
Dolphins have not had a 1,000-yard rusher since Delvin Williams in '78. Higgs has the chance to do it. He'll get another carry. Oh, and did he take a blast from Brian Washington, who came rifling up from the strong safety spot.
There was a case of the play worked okay to the left. Let's try it again. It's the exact same play to the other side, except this time the strong safety's there. Clifton Kyle takes on Tony Page, and you see Higgs just take a beating from Washington. Left part of your screen. You'll see Higgs hit the hole, and then you'll see him stop right there.
Gain of 3. Marino deep sideline, incomplete. Nice defense by Brim against Clayton. Really had excellent position.
Well, if you're going to pick on somebody, I wouldn't say that Mike Brim is the guy to go after. He's got 6 interceptions this year, having a really solid year on a defense that's just been decimated right from the get-go. And I really feel like when they lost Jeff Lageman, that was the beginning of it. And obviously then Dennis Byrd and all the other problems. But Pete Carroll, he's managed to hold them together and get some production out of the safety positions and the corner position.
And they lost Lageman at the beginning of the year. 3rd and 7 for the Dolphins in Jets territory. Marino throws complete, but it's going to be short of the first down. The catch made by Tony Martin. Brim was there, or excuse me, catch made by Freddie Banks, but Brim was right there.
Freddie Banks just working in the zone. Now he's got to know where he is. He hooks up, but he slides coming. He does the right thing coming back to the ball, because if he doesn't, it's going to be broken up. But the problem is if he's going to do that, he's going to have to go 2 or 3 yards past the first down mark.
And Don Shula agrees with the 73,000 coaches in the stands. He's going for it on 4th and 2. The play clock is at 5. And Marino has to use a timeout. We'll see if the Dolphins go for it again after the timeout. We'll be back in a moment. Marino to throw for it, complete to Clayton. He breaks the tackle. Mark Clayton, touchdown. Brim and Clifton missed him.
I mean, you really have problems when you look at that offense. Watch the right part of your screen. This is inaudible. Marino reads it and just fires it. It should just be a first down. You don't bang people in this league. You got to use your arms. You got to tackle. You got to wrap up. That's why you lose a lot of football games.
Mark Clayton with his 3rd touchdown catch of the year, and Stoyanovich to add the point after. So the Dolphin offense coming in had 3 touchdowns in 18 quarters. This will make them feel a little better. Oh, and they lead 7-0. And of course, they are the all-time combo in the NFL. That was number 79 from Marino to Clayton, and Duper and Marino are 4th.
And this is a play you just see. Starts outside, does a good job, get Brim's turned around. Everybody collides and forgets to tackle Mark Clayton. They run into one another. I mean, you have to wrap up receivers and running backs. The only way they're going to go down is if you hold them. They'll bump into them. They're not going anywhere except into the end zone.
Marino, good opening numbers, especially the touchdown. Stojanovic to kick to Brown and Mathis, high and short. Mathis at the 10. Has a seam. J.B. Brown shoved him out of bounds across the 40-yard line. A return of 28. Let's take a look at the Miami defense that's done so well this year. Marco Coleman's move from linebacker to down lineman has been a success. He's been tough against the run, still rushes the passer with great intensity. Brian Cox has blossomed in his second season. 13 sacks, more than any other linebacker in the AFC. And J.B. Brown, who made the last tackle, having his best season, had a big interception return for a touchdown last week to help beat the Raiders. Brad Baxter, the single running back behind Browning-Nagle. Baxter will get the carry and a couple of yards.
Tom Olivadotti, the defensive coordinator of the Dolphins, now has a defense he feels like can attack from a lot of different angles. He's got two very good man-to-man corners, and he's not afraid to send his linebackers in to both disrupt the run as well as put pressure on the passer.
2nd and 8. Cox and Coleman have made a huge difference. Baxter again. And again for a couple. Cox in on the stop along with 92 David Griggs.
Brian Cox, boy, what an unbelievable year he's had. They finally have put him into a defensive scheme where he can go out and rush the passer. He's got 13 sacks, but he's just generally a disruptive force because of his intensity on the field.
And his attitude is very important to this club. The Jets in the first quarter have really been pummeled this year. 4-man rush. Little shovel pass to McNeil. He's got the first down and more. Lifford Hobley from behind at the 20-yard line. Well-designed play and a gain of 32.
Well, the first one Browning-Nagle threw went backwards to Baxter. This one he shoveled forward to Freeman McNeil. Tom Olivadotti, he figures he's got it defense. It's man-to-man coverage. What happens is the back cover of Lewis Oliver, just gets tied up in the wash. That's Kerry Glenn, number 35. He couldn't make the play.
The Jets have only the 21st best passing attack in the NFL this year. Mathis end around. Blockers in front and Mathis down to the 11-yard line. Troy Vincent had to make the stop.
Browning-Nagle has not led this Jet team on a scoring drive in the first quarter this year, a touchdown drive this year. And for Terrence Mathis, that was his 3rd carry so far this year.
Nagle checking the sideline. His numbers a week ago, anemic against the Colts in a 10-6 loss where they had 5 turnovers. That's 34 for the season. 2nd and a yard. Nagle to throw. And it's batted down to the line of scrimmage. It was intended for Baxter, who had slipped out of the backfield, and you can see the disgust from Browning-Nagle.
I feel like the Jets are in a 2-down situation. If they don't make it here on 3rd down, absolutely nothing to lose. You go for it on 4th. It's not a question of not trying to win the football game. I think it's a question of Bruce Koslick feeling like they have to keep the ball away from that Dolphin offense.
Now 3rd and a yard from the 11. 3:27 to go, opening quarter. Baxter has the first down to the Miami 8-yard line. Baxter in the first Miami game, 20 carries, 103 yards. the first 100-yard rushing game of his career. The Jets always seem to find a way to do it against Miami.
If you're going to run the football, you have to have your center handle the nose guard. There he is right in the middle. Sweeney against Klingbeil. Watch the job he does moving him out. See, he gets under him. He takes a position, gives him a crease to run to. What that running back is looking for is the rear end and the back of the center. That's where he wants to go.
And when the center can handle the nose man one-on-one, you get a lot of extra blocking. Into the end zone, picked off by Oliver. Louis Oliver with his 4th interception of the season.
Boy, if that wasn't reminiscent of what he did against Jim Kelly up in Buffalo, picking one off. This is just a quick post. You see him try and get the pass in. It's a little bit behind Chris Burkett. Oliver stays with it. Now he's looking for some blockers, cuts it up inside. Browning-Nagle makes the tackle. He just tries to gun this thing home, and it's late.
Oliver with the good hands gets his 4th pick, and watch Nagle. Just sticks his head in there and makes the stop. So the turnover gives it to Miami at the 10. And Marino right back to work. And this could be offensive interference on Duper. Tough to beat the Jets secondary. That's a good group back there.
Well, the corners are covering real well, and what they're doing is they're basically challenging Dan.
Offensive pass interference, number 85.
Pete Carroll's made a commitment. What he's basically said is, I'm going to put people up around the line of scrimmage. I'm going to make you throw it deep, Dan, and here's the case. There you see James Hasty just reaches back, and Duper stops him from getting the interception. Pete Carroll, he's just made that commitment. He feels like, and Floyd Peters sort of gave him this idea, let Dan Marino know you're coming after him. Make him move around a little bit, and that's what he's doing.
Spot the ball at the 5 after the penalty. It's 1st and 15. Higgs. Ripped again by Washington as he got to the 9. Joe, you remember when Browning-Nagle was talking about leaving the field after making a mistake? He said the last place he wanted to go was where that telephone was. He's on it right now.
That's right. And Walt Harris, the quarterback coach, is upstairs. There's Walt talking to him. This conversation basically consists of, first of all, you've got to get the ball out front if you're going to make the quick throw. Secondly, if it's not there clean for you, if you don't see it clean, don't throw it.
2nd and 10 now. Marino play action blitz. Unloads complete, and Hasty just flattened Clayton. Holy cow. Oh, did he take a rip?
Dan Marino has to hold this ball a long time. Clayton starts in motion. He crosses the entire field. You'd like to get it to him right there. Now he's running over where he's blind. This is just a shoulder shot right in the jaw. Watch the left part of your screen. Watch this. He's got the ball almost. You've got to have both feet on the ground. All it was a shoulder and a forearm shiver. It's not a helmet shot, but you're not going to convince Mark Clayton it wasn't a truck off the highway 95 out here.
Just great defense, and Hasty is a big corner. He's really a safety, safety's body, 6 feet, 201.
I'll tell you, Brim and Hasty make up some tough corners for this Jet football team.
And Clayton still down. Hope you'll be with us next Sunday, noon Eastern. The Emmy Award-winning
Cody Carlson with 2 touchdowns in the last 3 minutes of the game against Cleveland. Commander Cody pulls one out for the Oilers to set up that match. What a shot Clayton takes. Again, focus the left. He has to get both feet down for it to be a catch. He's got one. He never gets the other one down.
Took a while for both feet to get down at all.
What a shot. 10 years in the league.
Of course, the first thing that is going to go through the minds of the Jets players when somebody goes down is Dennis Byrd. And all you can do as a football player is hit somebody as hard and as clean as you can and then hope they get up.
That's what you do in this game, Mike. It's going to be tough to legislate in this game. I mean, the officials are doing an excellent job as far as using the helmet as a weapon. But when you got a guy 6 feet tall, 200 pounds going after somebody that's 5 feet 9 and 180, you're going to have big collisions.
It's 3rd and 10 now for Miami. They have the ball inside their own 10-yard line, leading 7-0 over the Jets with 1:44 to go first quarter. Marino to the shotgun, and the ball was snapped. He wasn't looking. Marino trying to call an audible, and Ulanate snapped it right to him.
Dan makes the sound, and Jeff thinks it's the snap. Wait, and you'll never see Marino take his helmet off in disgust. Watch this. He calls to yell. Ulanate thinks he's calling the snap. Heads up play in the backfield by Bobby Humphrey.
What a break. That ball could have gone anywhere. Sailed out of the end zone for a safety, been recovered in the end zone for a touchdown. Roby, under a lot of pressure, got it out of there. Mathis made the fair catch signal and then let it go.
Why?
I don't know.
If you make a fair catch signal, catch the ball. Don't let it bounce.
That's the question Al Roberts is going to ask him when he goes to the sideline is why? A punt of 53 yards and no return. Oh, that was a huge break for the Miami Dolphins.
There goes Al. You're right.
And he just said why.
Explain to me why you did that. Mike, we talked about in the open. The Dolphins on offense don't have big problems. They've got big play people. Little problems. We saw it. A sack. A miscommunication with the bad snap between the center and the quarterback.
Good field position again for the Jets. They take over at their own 43. And Scotty Graham, who was just signed on Monday, in for the first time, but there is a flag down late on the play. Scotty Graham, number 35, a rookie out of Ohio State.
Holding number 67 of the offense. 10 yards. Repeat first down.
Dwayne White, the starting right guard, a very good run blocker out of Alcorn State, called for the hold. So instead of the big first down play, they'll have to go back it up 10 yards. And Brad Baxter, with that hamstring problem, is out of the ball game. Questionable that he will return. Freeman McNeil is in the locker room having chest x-rays. Johnny Hector didn't start because he has a calf injury. That leaves you with two, count them, two running backs. A.B. Brown and Scotty Graham, who was signed on Monday. You can't do a whole lot with that. Brown is in there now. Here's the pressure from Coleman, who was held. Nagel throws, and Vincent knocked it away. Boy, some sensational defense by the Dolphins, and Marco Coleman had a big-time sack, and he was held.
There's what your first-round athletes can do. Marco Coleman, the number 12 pick in the first round. Troy Vincent, the number 7 pick in the first round. Both of them making plays.
Holding number 70 of the offense. 10 yards. Still first down.
That's Siopeli Malamala.
There he is, right? It's going to be a takedown right there. Malamala tries to lock up. He's got Coleman. Now just yank him down. All he's doing is protecting Browning Nagel, but he also has him his first down and 4 miles.
Marco Coleman, the rookie out of Georgia Tech. 6 sacks, 76 tackles. He's had a brilliant rookie year. 1st and 30. Here he comes again. Mitchell on the tight end screen. Slipped the tackle, got a block. Out to the 35-yard line. Marco Coleman barely missed another sack. Dwight Hollier, playing for John Offerdahl, made the tackle. That's going to be the end of the first period at Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami. It's the Dolphins 7 and the Jets nothing. Who gave his time, his money, and his heart to people who were not as fortunate. We wish him all the best.
And we do, and his wife Angela and his daughter Austin. He's really made some great progress. I was talking to Pete Carroll, the defensive coordinator, says that he can actually lift his knees up and back, both legs, continues to make progress, and the signs are wonderfully encouraging, and we send our best along to him.
2nd and 18 for his teammate. Nagel under pressure again. And they've got him this time. Jeff Cross, followed up by Coleman. Jeff Cross, his production has sagged since 1990 when he had 11.5 sacks, but that gives him 5 this year.
Well, he's been hoping. You see number 91 right inside. He just takes the hard inside. Sweeney tries to pick him up. Obviously, Nagel gets flushed. When he gets flushed, the opportunity comes for the sack.
Kenny O'Brien, who played in the first game, sacked 5 times, and that is Dennis Bird's number 90 on the side of the helmet along with the religious symbol. 3rd and 19. Shovel pass to A.B. Brown, hit behind the line of scrimmage and dumped. Larry Webster, the rookie out of Maryland.
These young guys are really playing well for this defense. Number 90 puts pressure. You see the pressure coming on Nagel. Webster just does something unbelievable there. He plays off 2 blockers with one arm, makes the tackle with the other one.
Aguiar, who did not get a good kick the first time, punting to Scott Miller, who waits at his 25. Low line drive kick, Miller on the run. Hit almost as soon as he took it. A return of 5 after a punt of only 32. We'll be back to Joe Robbie in a moment. With a 7-0 lead, 13:35 to go first half. Dolphins ball outside their own 40-yard line. Mark Higgs with the carry. It's 5 or 6 yards. 6th in the AFC this year is Mark Higgs with a couple of 100-yard games.
The Dolphins really need Higgs to perform. They need a running game to establish a rhythm for Dan Marino. He can't just continue to drop back in the pocket and throw the ball. And
Higgs has a great attitude, too. He said when they traded for Bobby Humphrey, hey, I'm still the running back here. He's got to beat me out, and he hasn't done it. 2nd and 5. Higgs trying to slip a tackle, and right there, Mo Lewis out of Georgia with his arms wrapped up around the ankles.
New experience for Mo Lewis. He had been a strong side linebacker his entire career, college and everything else. First year, they moved him over to the weak side. He's gotten 2 sacks from there, but now he's become a bit of a force, and that's that force position, the right outside linebacker position. All the switching and tinkering that Pete Carroll's had to do with this defense through the season.
Put 4 new men in on defense on this play, so they go with 7 defensive backs on 3rd and 5 against Marino. And Banks cut the pattern off short, and Marino threw long. Mark Clayton went to the locker room after taking that big shot. And Banks and Martin are filling that spot right now.
The Jets continue to be a problem. Dan Marino, we posted his numbers earlier and saw the success that he has had. But these games no longer turn into shootouts. The defense of the Jets is creating look problems for Dan Marino.
Mathis is the deep man waiting at the 10 for Roby. They came after him again and almost got there. High but very short. Takes a Dolphin bounce. And will be down at about the 23-yard line. That's the blimp from SeaWorld. Shamu hovering above Joe Robbie Stadium. representing SeaWorld Parks in Florida, California, Ohio, and Texas. Steve Adams and Alec Judd, the pilots, both out of Orlando, which is the home base for Shamu. .55 to go first half. Jets trying to get something started on offense. They have just been dominated. And Nagel fumbles the snap. Got it back. That is the second time he has bobbled a snap from center.
Well, he tripped over Sweeney one time, threw the ball to Baxter. Threw an interception the next time he had the ball. Got a bunch of penalties. Now he fumbles a snap from center. He's got to just have a series where something positive happens. The snap is up fine. He just never grabs it, but at least he has the presence of mind to get down on it. A lot of times as a quarterback, you get focusing on the defense and you forget that you got to hold the football.
It's the basics. 2nd and 11. Play action by Nagel. Throws on the run, had it knocked down right in his face. David Briggs. He nearly caught that ball.
Good play action fake to the left of your screen. Good fake over there to A.B. Brown. Now it's just he's got to negotiate this. He has got to figure out some way to make that pass complete. You have to do that as a quarterback. It's part of the learning process. And really, Bruce Cosler put a lot of pressure on Nagel. He said, hey, he's going to have to show me something in these next couple of games.
3rd and 11. Look out for Coleman. Throws over the middle. Burkett will make the catch, but way short of a first down. Stephen Braggs was all over it. Jets gain 5 yards in 3 plays. The way it's gone tonight, that's a good possession.
Marco Coleman, number 90, against Malamala. He's going to get close again to Nagel. I mean, he is really in his environment as a down rushing outside lineman. Look at the left side. He's just going to bang Nagel around, let him know he's in the vicinity.
Aguiar to kick to Scott Miller. Pretty punt this time. Miller with the fair catch signal at the 28. 43-yard punt, no return.
If you're having problems, what you do, and I like the idea that Nagel has done, is go over and grab the center and say, hey, look, let's work on a few things. There's something not right. I don't feel comfortable. Come on over and let's snap a few.
1st and 10 for the Dolphins from their own 28-yard line, leading 7-0. Play action to Higgs. Throw to Page. And Page fights his way forward to the 34-yard line. Bobby Houston waiting for him. Tony Page with 43 catches this year. He is a tremendous blocker. When he joined the Dolphins as a Plan B free agent, he was the guy who was named the most valuable player by his teammates. Can you imagine that with all the talent on this team? They pick a blocking fullback to name as their MVP.
And he said that's his purpose. I'm a blocker. That's what I'm here for.
Marino so far 6 out of 10, 64 yards in the score. Higgs. Behind Page, he'll be about a yard shy of a first down.
Pete Carroll continuing to put people. You count them, there's 7 defensive players in the box. He wants Dan Marino to throw. He will not give him creases to run the football. This Jet defense and Pete Carroll is just challenging Dan Marino to put the ball in the air.
Because that secondary has been the strength of the ball club, and Eric McMillan checks in on 3rd and 2. McMillan is their big play guy back there, number 22. Humphrey, the single setback for Miami. And Humphrey gets the toss. And look at the Jets defense close. What a nice job by Fraze and Kyle Clifton, the middle linebacker, who was the first man there.
9 years Kyle Clifton has held down the middle of that Jet defense, whether it's been a 3-4 or a 4-3. He has been the Jets' John Offergard. He is the guy that they've needed to anchor that thing, especially now with everybody hurt.
And they wanted to have Joe Kelly split time with him in the middle this year, but Kelly, one of the many players who was injured. Roby, this is a returnable kick to Mathis, low. Mathis got a couple of blocks and out across the 30-yard line. A return of 12 yards after a Reggie Roby 44-yard punt, number 7 all-time in the NFL from Miami. And Bruce Coslett was around the baptism of a couple of outstanding quarterbacks, Joe Montana and Boomer Esiason. This is his 3rd baptism, but it hasn't gone as well with Browning Nagel. He has not been surrounded by all the talent that those other 2 gentlemen have. Graham, one of 2 healthy running backs, gets out across the 35.
You talk about the development of Browning Nagel. Of course, with Joe and Boomer, it's been a different story. They had a lot of people around. Cincinnati, for example, when he was there with Boomer, they had 5 All-Pros on that team. And Browning Nagel has not enjoyed the luxury. When you're a young quarterback, you got to have veterans to make plays for you, to help you out of jams. He's really had to do it on his own, and Bruce Coslett has put a little bit more pressure on him.
2nd and 6. And Johnny Hector is into the ball game. He's playing with a calf injury. Nagel got away from Coleman somehow. Throws complete to Boyer, the tight end. What a play by Browning Nagel.
Browning Nagel having to use his athletic ability. Marco Coleman's got him one-on-one. Left part of your screen. They run the play-action fake again. It's Coleman and Nagel. Little spinner move. You see his knee never hits the ground. Uses his hands. Yep, the ball was on the ground, but remember, his knee wasn't on there. This is just a great athletic play. Uses the ball. Actually, the ball never gets on the ground. It's his wrist. That's just a sensational play. And also makes a touch pass after he gets up, which is not his strong suit.
And it puts the ball at the Miami 41-yard line. A.B. Brown will get the carry. Cuts it outside to the 38-yard line. Here's what Coslett had to say to us about the development of his 2nd-year quarterback, Browning Nagel.
He's struggling with some of the intricacies of what we're trying to teach him. Today's coverages and nickel defenses and everything else he has to look at are more sophisticated, so it takes a little longer to learn it. But I have a lot of confidence in his ability. I've seen him do it in flashes. But just like anything else, you have to be consistent to do your job at that level.
He could use the flash here on 2nd and 7. His team down by a touchdown. Graham. And waiting for him, David Griggs, the outside linebacker.
One of the things that Browning Nagel talked about, Mike, was the length of the season. He said by the time he hit week 12 in the National Football League, he's home for Thanksgiving, he's having turkey, he's getting ready to go on holiday. Now he has to learn to stay not only mentally sharp, but physically fit. And it's a big adjustment for a rookie.
And he's taken a beating this year. 3rd and 6. Nagel floats it down the middle. It's picked off by Oliver. His 2nd interception. And Joe, that pass had hang time on it.
That one did. Walt Harris jotting that one down in the notebook. Pretty soon that phone's going to be a hot place to be. Nagel gets pressure right up the middle. Great job up the middle. All Louis Oliver's doing is playing center field. He sees the ball go up. You're right, Mike. This thing hung up there like a punt. Louis Oliver picking off interceptions in bunches. 3 against the Bills. Now he's got 2 so far tonight against the Jets.
And those are his only interceptions. 3 in one game, 2 in another. The officials won't let the Dolphins snap it from their own 31. Second turnover of the ball game. And Nagel with some advice from Kenny O'Brien. His numbers, the 2 interceptions, is what jumps out. Marino on the run to Page. And Page pulls his way up to the 40-yard line. Grimm took his legs out from under it.
Tony Page said, I've been put here for 2 reasons. Number 1, to block. Number 2, to catch. Those are the 2 things that he does in this offense for the Miami Dolphins. He's almost like Craig Haywood. Maybe 50 pounds lighter, but sort of like...
Although he's only had 7 carries all year long. Higgs. Nice hole. Higgs to midfield. Bobby Houston made the tackle. Higgs, 9 carries, 49 yards, which gives him 861 for the year.
You know, when you're a small back, 5'7", you get lost behind those defensive guys a little bit. Then you have a low center of gravity. You can make the real quick adjustments and moves. Nice job by that offensive line. They lock up on everybody. The offside gives them a place to cut back to.
1st and 10, midfield, 3:42 to go in the half. Higgs again with Page in front. He'll get 4. Joe, can you imagine what it would mean? There's a flag down on the play. Can you imagine what it would mean to defensive coordinators in this league if the Dolphins get a running game to go with their passing attack and the defense is playing as well as it is?
Oh, I said it before. I think they can
Hold
do
it. Number 88 of the offense. 10 yards. Repeat. First down.
I think they're capable. I mean, the AFC's wide open. The Dolphins have as good a chance as anybody in the AFC to win it all and represent the American Football Conference in a Super Bowl. And Pete Carroll is just having himself one big nightmare. It just continues. And he said it himself. That's what this season's been like, is one big nightmare.
Of course, the Dolphins on offense ranked 25th in the NFL with penalties committed on offense. They have not done a good job in that department. 1st and 20 after the holding call on Keith Jackson. Marino sidearms it to his big tight end, who's out across the 45 to maybe the 46-yard line. Some of the players on this club not happy when Keith Jackson was signed, not because they didn't want his offensive ability, which he is wonderful talent. They were upset that so much money went to him, and some of them felt ignored.
I think if you're going to win championships, you can't worry about what guys are getting paid. What you worry about is plays like this. Keith Jackson, great ability to have awareness on the field. See him slide right, then it's just pure all hands. All hands. And I know there's one guy sitting at home missing him, that's Randall Cunningham.
2nd and 14. Marino with time throws to Jackson again. A first down inside the 40. R.J. Coors made the tackle. A gain of 15. When Jackson got here, the percentage of catches for wide receivers and running backs really changed. The wide receivers actually went down 20%. The tight ends went up over 100% from 9 to 19. Of course, if you got Keith Jackson, you better throw the football to him. 2-minute warning. Back in a moment. Scenario. The division leaders with Buffalo 11-4. Pittsburgh has clinched its division at 10-5. San Diego, what an incredible return from 0-4 they've had. They've clinched a playoff spot. Now the wild cards. Miami 9-5. They play at New England in their final game. Houston 9-6. You'll see them against Buffalo next Sunday night on ESPN. Kansas City against Denver. Then Denver, of course, against Kansas City at 8-7. Indianapolis still alive. They finish up the season at Cincinnati. Bobby Humphrey nothing in the middle. Of course, we didn't go into the whys and wherefores of the playoff picture. You understand that Einstein developed the theory of relativity, but he never had to figure out the NFL playoff system. He would not have been considered a genius if he had to explain that. 2nd and 10. Dolphins go hurry up a minute 36 left. Draw to Humphrey. Broke a tackle. Lost the ball. Hasty has it for the Jets. Mark Gunn came from behind to Humphrey and ripped it loose.
That's something that they're doing. I mean, the Jets are very good at stripping the ball. You watch them on film, you see the football fly around a lot when they're around it.
We've got a timeout, a minute 23 to go in the half. Still only a 7-0 game. The Jets have it at their own 26. Coming up at halftime, Chris Berman with all the highlights, the fastest 3 minutes in television. And then Chris, bless his heart, will take an in-depth look at the playoff picture and try to explain the unexplainable. And then Joe will be back with his first half analysis.
Which will probably be to explain the unexplainable as well.
There's the Berminator.
Love those glasses, Chris.
In your face indeed. And Marcel Coleman has been in the face of Browning Nagel all night long. Nagel falls coming out of center again. Gives it to his big back, Scotty Graham. It looked like he was stepped on again, so it's been 2 fumbled snaps from center, and twice an offensive lineman has clipped his heel.
Those are the kind of adjustments you'll make in training camp at some point if it continues. He's just got to get his feet out a little. He's got to anticipate it. He's waiting for the ball and then moving. See, you can't do that. As a quarterback, you have to anticipate the snap, start your movement away, and allow the center to make his movements. You can't be hanging around there when all those feet start flopping.
Good job to get it to Scotty Graham. Clock continues to run. 43 seconds to go in the half. And the Jets in no hurry to put the ball up. Graham dives forward to the 34-yard line. Down to 26 seconds.
I've noticed something with Browning Nagel. Every quarterback anticipates the snap. They're always coming out. Watch the ball, and then watch his feet. There's the ball. His feet are still in the same place. That's something they're going to have to work on in training camp. He has got to be anticipating it, start coming out, get your feet out of the way, even before you have the ball.
The Jets do not have to run a play. The Dolphins do not use either of their timeouts to try to stop the clock. That's the end of the first half from Joe Robbie. It's Miami 7, New York nothing. Let's join Chris Berman.